Chaser in that grouping. I think Tasteless gave the best advice when he's talking about the shadow underneath. But when you're up against a larger Mutalisk force that's intended to do map control, just a single control group like this can oftentimes not be enough. And the Marines chasing that off. I'm not seeing any support Marines coming up from Canata, so HoeJJa swinging back around. Going to try to pick off what he can, and he needs to be careful doing so. You want to preserve every single Mutalisk because you have to replace them out in the field, and you want to save that gas for other things. Beautiful pick off right there. Ooh, taking a lot of free damage on the turnaround, but able to turn right back around, get a couple more kills, and should back off from here. It looks like one Mutalisk was taken care of. Still doing pretty good on his numbers, and some ooh shoot Firebat chasing after that Firebat, getting completely separated from the medic Marine force. The Mutalisks capitalizing on it. I think they outnumbered the Marines either way. Pushing in, Firebat going to be killed as well as the medic Marines, and this is huge for Canata early. It just hurts. Well, I mean, it's huge for HoeJJa early. It hurts Canata. Hurts Canata deeply. HoeJJa getting a little too aggressive here. He's going to end up losing basically all of his lings, all except for one right there. Really didn't need to force that attack in. I think he felt a little frisky. Thought he had caught Canata a bit in a tech switch where he had just hadn't produced enough Marines. Thought he might be able to take that front door down, but too many turrets up on that edge. Not enough to really go for a front door break. I think he should have scouted that before really barreling in, though. So fewer Zerglings and maybe one less Mutalisk now. And that's going to allow Canata to venture out at least to this edge once again. I think that Hydralisk Den just went up. Weapons 1, that'll also help a lot against those Mutalisk. Ooh, that's not what you want to go against, that big wall of waiting Marines that have been stimmed. That's like that's what they love doing. It's like hanging back, and like it's almost like catching a wave. You wait for the Mutalisk to come by, you hit them going down. It's kind of, I guess, a Southern California metaphor. Anyway, the Hydralisk is out in the field. Looks like a Queen's Nest going up, so direct tech to hive off 3 bases. And it looks like the Metaric's trying to press that upper corner, however getting really spread out. Nice job with those mules to pick them off, to force them to group back up, huddle back up, kind of like the scared little wusses they are. I'm kind of anti-Terran actually in this matchup, mostly because I always root for Zerg, and I know I'm a little biased in that regard. I'll try not to do that in future casts, but I always am amazed that Zerg ever manages to win a game, ever. Like Marine, especially at this level. Because if you think about it, Zerg has to basically have perfect micromanagement to get to this stage, and where like Terran, they can lose some Marines. It's like no biggie. They just have to make sure they keep producing them. But with Zerg, if they end up like mismicroing a Muta and they lose like 2 or 3 instead, like every Muta hurts so much more than a single Marine. Anyway, it's almost like a Zerg has to inflict casualties where it's like really not expected. They have to rely on the Terran to make mistakes to stay in a game. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, looks like a good amount of lurkers out though, so HoeJJa should be in a pretty good position to defend this. Already teching to hive. Already most of the way there, I assume. A first science vessel out, although needs to be very careful with that science vessel. You usually want to push with 2 rather than 1. Couple Marines getting killed right there. Don't have that armor 1 to help repel that. Looks like 2 more medics actually got caught in transition. That's another thing with the medic Marine forces, is they got to kind of go in groups, otherwise that Mutalisk can do a lot of damage. And also, Canata needs to be very careful when he moves out this next science vessel, if that's any indicate. If he doesn't, see, you got to go out with those troop groupings, and you need the escort, otherwise you can end up getting that science vessel picked off, and he's going into pure SKT here. Or I should say SK Terran, not SKT. It's a team rather than a build. Anyway, SK Terran, a bunch of science vessels, a bunch of medic Marines underneath, and just relying on a mass science vessel force and radiates to get the work done into the middle of the game, and also medic Marine upgrades. And right there, this is what I'm talking about. Again, I'd already seen this match, but I actually commented on it. I was proud of myself commentating it in the actual game. The people who watch the video can actually vouch, because it was out for a minute there. But the going to be able to push in, take out this entire attack force. He'll be lucky if he doesn't end up losing that additional science vessel, which really set him way behind. Put HoeJJa in a great position. Nice irradiate. HoeJJa unable to separate his Mutalisks out. Man, I wish there was a scatter key like there was in Command & Conquer. That would be so useful against tanks and in situations like that. Oh man, that would be great. But it looks like more Marines being pumped out. Canata losing the high ground, specifically getting pushed back across that ridge. And this is devastating for Canata, because going up that ridge against lurkers is so difficult. Another science, especially without a lot of detection. He's already had, I think, I think 2 science vessels have been picked off, maybe 3. And he's going to have a hard time just making any room otherwise. It looks like he's going to try to pull an end around. HoeJJa already on top of it. Anticipation, name of the game right here. able to push up just as those Marines are up on that ridge. It's going to be really close. Looks like the Marines getting cleaned up, and they're going to have to back up. You don't want to go uphill versus a lurker grouping like that. That Science Vessel does not have Irradiate yet, and even if it did, it'd only be able to push one out. And now getting a factory down with that machine shop, probably to get some tanks. He knows he's going to have to deal with some defilers here. Wants that siege, wants that splash to deal specifically against this Hydralisk lurker combination at the moment. 2 evolution chambers up, so they should be pretty well upgraded. But especially on that swarm, Firebats and tanks are the combination we should expect to see at this stage of the game. Looks like, leaving that secondary very undefended, only a single Firebat there, as well as 3 turrets, and turrets do not attack lurkers. So Canata losing that secondary, he's going to have to abandon it entirely, and this is a bad... it's just hard to get units down to that location. They have to go single file. Instead, panicking a little bit and running headlong into a lurker line, and as well as a lot of Zerg. He's probably going to lose that attack force out of position, as well as his secondary, and I think this is going to give HoeJJa kind of that step up he needs to kind of step on Kanata's head up the ladder. So Canata, who I think was expected by SKT to just take this match easily, to lure Luxury out once again. I don't know if they had planned to take care of Luxury, but not getting it done here, and HoeJJa turning out to be a hero. Another Science Vessel getting picked off. That's absolutely huge. And finally, detection back there. Let's see if the Lurkers can get away. Run, Lurkers, run. Probably going to get irradiated for all of his efforts. That's the other thing with Zerg units. They never have like the heroic, triumphant end game. Like, it's like, good job. It's like, no, you did everything for the swarm, and now you get stranded out there and die. Get irradiated just to hold a ridge for a little while. But Canata opening things up on, at least he'll be able to pull some degree of an end around. He still needs to worry about those Mutalisks, and he might be leaving a secondary wide open. It looks like the level 2 Carapace is up. Level 2 weapons, however, and level 1 armor to counter that. But now we see that Defiler out in the field. I don't see any siege tanks, at least at this stage. There is a Comsat. The Comsat did in fact see that Defiler. Okay, there's a siege tank. Not enough siege tanks. A lot of Firebats, but that's a lot of Lurkers to deal with those Firebats. And there's no Science Vessels to provide any detection. So Canata just going to try to circle around, try to do as much economic damage as possible, use those Firebats as a funnel, which isn't going to last very long. Did kill a lot of Zerglings though, so nice micro in that regard. But I don't think he's going to be able to push against this, especially with already there HoeJJa, especially with the Lurkers catching that ridge. I'm surprised he didn't just follow the ridge all the way around. It kind of creates a nice little containment pocket, but at least you don't have to worry about flanks and things like that. You can pretty much well, I guess you kind of do. But anyway, Command Center lifted off. That really hurt for Canata. Canata is going to end up taking out this expansion right here. That doesn't hurt HoeJJa much. That's his 4th gas. He's still got 3 gas to run off of. And he's denied Canata his 2nd gas, which is essentially the components he needs to fight that Defiler tech. And man, speaking of gas, 2 more Science Vessels down, and without that second gas, on that natural secondary, that's hurting Canata immensely. So I think HoeJJa has, in fact, well, I think he won it a while ago, but I think he has in fact won this out. Even if he ends up losing that expansion in the upper left-hand corner, I still think he has the technology. He has the technology to do it, to pull this match out. From this stage on, at the very least, I think he has Canata contained. 2 Sunken Colonies, I think he should be able to hold this. Let's see if, not quite sure what's hatching there. Looks like some Zerglings getting kind of blocked out, and that's allowing that Sunken Colony to wail out. Just 3 Marines and 4 Medics left at that location. So I think he should be able to clean that up fairly well, and now just needs to set up a contain if he wants to. Looks like a dropship out with it, 1 siege tank, and HoeJJa getting a little too aggressive. There's detection right there. But yeah, he's going to continue to push the Lurkers through. And there's GG from Canata. Canata knowing he cannot win it at this stage. HoeJJa taking set 3 very unexpectedly. And who is this man? He's fantastic. He is HoeJJa. So HoeJJa, he's the, wow, awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.